Well, welcome back to my channel, Mispronounced Adventures. My name's Alex, and welcome back to the Arctic. Okay, this is clearly not the Arctic. This is clearly somewhere else in the globe. And if you want to guess, I'm not going to make it too difficult. Put in the comments if you can figure out where I am. But this is about the Arctic series, and what an amazing trip that was. Easy peasy. But one of the most asked questions about that trip, apart from heating and how I keep warm,
The Chinese diesel heater.
was how much did it cost? Because a lot of people assume the Nordics are not cheap countries to travel in, and that is very true. Which is why this week's sponsor is Rosetta Stone, and after you see the total price of this trip, you'll see why I'm doing quite a few affiliations and collaborations and partnerships for coming videos to earn some money back. But let's get into the trip. So first off, how have I logged this trip? I use Revolut for all my international work. So I have two Revolut cards, MasterCard, Visa card. I work in countries all over the globe, and Master and Visa aren't always accepted in all of them. The Nordics is not really a problem. But they have a wonderful app, and that app keeps track of all your costs and breaks it down individually. So it was quite easy to work out how much this trip has cost. If anyone wants to sign up to Revolut, I'll put my Revolut affiliate link in the description, because if you sign up, I get up to 50 quid if you get a card and do some transactions, and I find them really helpful for travel. I use my normal bank cards when I'm in the UK. So this trip was from January 7th to March 4th, which is 57 days, so about 2 months, 8 weeks. And I drove around 7,000 miles. So just to give you a sort of scope of the trip itself and where I went. I spent the majority of the time in far northern Norway, Sweden and Finland in the Arctic, although I did have to drive through France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark to get there. So the Revolut app categorises spending automatically. Transport, which is your fuel, your tolls, groceries, shopping, restaurants, general, entertainment, and a variety of few areas. So we're going to go through those piece by piece, and then I'll give you the total trip cost at the end. So first category was general, and that turned out to be £13 a month for January, February, March. That's because I upgraded my normal Revolut card to a Metal Series one. The reason I did that is I use on trips the Revolut cards, and what I do for there, I transfer via Apple Pay on my phone from my UK bank account to my Revolut, and then I convert that pounds into euros, so I avoid the transaction fees. However, the free account you get with Revolut only has X amount of exchanges you can do per month. So upgrading to the metal card version, which was £12.99 a month, that allows me to do unlimited changing of pounds to euros without costs. And those costs were going to add up to more than it cost to just upgrade my account. So I upgraded to a metal Revolut card, and that was the first cost, £13 a month. Next category was shopping, which turned out to be £25.36. And Revolut categorised shopping as things which are outside of grocery shopping, but other things. So really those are just souvenirs I bought, and apparently a bottle of spirits I bought as well. So pretty small cost. So next category is entertainment, and that was a total of £55, and that was a variety of things, mostly museums. So that was visiting the Sami Museum in different places, and the Outdoor Sami Museum when Katie was on the trip, when we fed the reindeers as well. So on entertainment and things to do in that sense was £55. Next on the list is a category called travel, which looking at it is activities. So that was a grand total of, I've forgotten one second. The total for that was £444. And that was a variety of things. That was all the visits and anything associated to the ice hotel. So entry fee to the ice hotel, eating at the ice hotel, and the ice beers at the ice hotel, which was a lot of fun.
The amazing evening with Kinging It, taking the gondola up to see the Northern Lights in Abisko.
And also the snowmobile day as well. That was also under in that. And that was a total of £444 for activities. Next category is restaurants. That was a total of £401 over the course of the 2 months. And that was probably me going out and eating maybe once a week by myself, or when I was with friends. So when Katie was on the trip.
We had a nice meal. I ate Rudolph's balls.
Or when I met up with Will's Adventures and Joel, we went out for a couple of meals as well, and their family when they turned up. Other times when I'd go out to a bar or a restaurant, that would also count. So the pints I had in the Arctic Star Hotel very quickly added up and increased that number. Most of the food on the trip I cooked myself in the van. So before we get into the real expensive bits of the trip, the food shopping, groceries, transport and fuel, let's look at this week's partner. And this week's partner is Rosetta Stone.
As you could probably see, this is a different location. This is actually on the different side of the world from where the last clip was, but it was a bit noisy, so I decided I would get home first and record the rest of the video. So this week's partner is Rosetta Stone, and on this channel I like to do partnerships and deals and collaborations with either something I enjoy, something useful to me, something useful to the audience, or something I can do something stupid with. Rosetta Stone is, for me, something which is helpful. I don't massively show what I do for my professional life on this channel, it's mostly my personal life, but I spend most of the last decade travelling the world, taking clients all over the globe and doing reconnaissance work. Language, very important, relatable to Rosetta Stone, and that's where I'm coming from. So a bit of history in language and me is I was removed from French in school. I was also removed from geography, but that's unrelatable, and had extra help in English. I'm very, very dyslexic, which is kind of why the channel is called Mispronounced Adventures. It's kind of a joke on my inabilities to read at times or pronounce things. So that's what I thought it would be interesting to try Rosetta Stone, because I realised I can't learn languages academically at all. But with all my travel over the years, I learned I could learn languages, and that wasn't something I thought I could do. Mainly because I find when I'm traveling or when I'm working overseas, you're learning language in the organic way, not in an academic way. So you're seeing objects, you're seeing actions, and you're learning the words associated with them. And that's what the Rosetta Stone app does. Opposed to being this word in this language translates to this word in English, or vice versa, it shows you images, it shows you actions, and it doesn't give you much information on it, I've found. It kind of forces you to learn it organically. And that, for me, works quite well. So Rosetta Stone has, at the minute, 24 different languages to pick from, and I'm starting my journey to learn Latin American Spanish. For me, I've worked in Costa Rica, Peru, Bolivia, and that'd be quite helpful. I would love to learn Arabic, which is another language available, but I thought I might try and start on something a little bit simpler.
El niño y el hombre beben agua. El hombre come un huevo.
So I'm using the app as my primary way of interacting with Rosetta Stone, and one of the features it does have is a pronunciation corrector, or a voice speech option, which ironically for this channel's name makes me pronounce stuff correctly, or I can't pass on to the next bit.
Él come arroz.
Ella bebe agua.
Ella bebe agua.
So if you are interested in learning language in an immersive, organic way, check out my description, check out the link for my exclusive discount for 50% off. This is particularly good if you want to go for the lifetime subscription, so one payment and you have lifetime access to all 24 languages. And that is normally €349, and that goes down to €174.50. My 50% off discount, which is quite a lot of money still. But if you generally want to learn a language, that's a long-term investment in yourself. And to be fair, if you are going to learn something long-term or have a subscription long-term, a lifetime option is probably better, because I dread to think for my music, which I use Spotify for, how much money I've paid Spotify for the last 10 plus years I've used them. If they had a lifetime option, I'm sure I would have saved thousands. But if it doesn't work for you, they've also got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Right. Let's get back to the main part of the video on how much money it cost in the Nordics, and you'll figure out why I'm doing more partnerships over the next few videos. Right, next up are the expensive ones. Groceries or supermarket shopping across Norway, Sweden and Finland for 2 months. I spent a staggering £801, which is a lot more than I thought. However, I think a bit of the issue was my beer and energy drink consumption.
In bed, beer, watching some Star Wars. Snowing a bit outside. Evening sorted.
I would say most days driving, I'd have an energy drink or two. I'm sure people are going to complain about that. And Most evenings I'll probably have a beer or two in the van, and that definitely adds up quite quickly. So about £100 a week on food and drink shopping. Right, time for the really big numbers, transport, and I'm going to break it down to two sections. So I've got tolls, toll bridges, and parking, and that was £247. And for fuel, or money spent in petrol stations, fuel stations, that might include a little bit of AdBlue and coolant, I spent £2,710 on diesel, which for 7,000 miles works out at about 38 pence a mile. And I think in the UK I'm equivalent of about 35 pence a mile, so not that bad, or not to be unanticipated really. Some of the other costs were the Eurotunnel. That cost me £174 on the way out and £173 on the way back. And one of the other costs was travel insurance, which was £120. So one of the other costs I've not included is £100 for getting the emergency passport in Norway, and £177 for when I got back to the UK to fast track a new 50-page passport on the fast track service, because I needed it for work. However, it's a good job I did have the travel insurance, because that passport is covered underneath it, as well as my expenses to get to the embassy. And since I lost the passport in Alta and the embassy is in Oslo, that's a 1,300-mile drive. So I'm going to work through that in a minute. And that brings the trip to a grand total of £5,203 for the Arctic trip, lasting 57 days, around 7,000 miles. That works out at £91 a day. And if I'm honest, smidge more than I wanted, but it's not double the price of last year. So last year was about a month-long trip, and that was about low 3,000s. So this was double the amount of time, but wasn't double the price. So I'm happy with that. And this is kind of the amount I had figured it would cost. And this is all funded by my Christmas tree job. So when November, December, I sell Christmas trees, and that usually funds my Arctic trip. And that's pretty much exactly what it's done. And I'm hoping the YouTube channel and some brand deals over the next coming months, as I said at the very beginning of the travel series, that it should pay for itself in the long term. And to be honest, it's getting there to make its way back. Could I have done the trip cheaper? Would I have wanted to do the trip cheaper? I mean, yeah. I could have not lost my passport, that would have saved some money. I could have bought less beer, and I could have bought less energy drinks. That would have probably saved 300 quid, 400 quid. But I enjoyed myself. If I didn't do those activities, then I could have saved £400. But I didn't go away on this trip to not do any activities and live on the bare minimum. I knew it was going to be an expensive trip, and I've had an amazing time doing it. So I hope that this video can show you how much money I no longer have, but also give you an idea of how much a Nordic trip could cost. Yes, you could do it a lot cheaper than I did it, but those are expensive countries, and I'm happy with how much it's cost me. If you've enjoyed this sort of review video, leave some comments down below. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, you only haven't watched the Arctic series, subscribe to the channel if you want and have a look at some of the Arctic series or the last one. All being well, I'll go back for round 3. But thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.